For years, The Big Bang Theory was one of the most popular sitcoms on television, giving audiences a unique blend of nerd culture, heartfelt friendships, and comedic brilliance. When the show ended in 2019 after 12 seasons, fans immediately began speculating about a possible revival. With the resurgence of legacy sitcoms like Frasier and That 70s Show, That 90s Show, it's understandable why many would love to see Sheldon, Leonard, Penny, and the rest of the gang back together. However, there's a compelling argument against such a revival, and the answer lies in Young Sheldon, the prequel spin-off that has been filling in the blanks of Sheldon Cooper's childhood. As much as a Big Bang Theory reunion might sound appealing, Young Sheldon has already proven why it wouldn't work and why it might even ruin the legacy of the original series. 1. Young Sheldon gave the characters a proper future. One of the most notable things Young Sheldon has done is expand on the lives of Big Bang Theory characters beyond what was ever depicted in the original show. Through adult Sheldon's narration, voiced by Jim Parsons, we've learned more about his family, his career, and even his eventual children with Amy Farrah Fowler. This presents a problem for a Big Bang Theory revival because the show already tied up most of the characters' storylines. Sheldon and Amy won the Nobel Prize, Leonard and Penny were expecting a baby, and Raj was learning to embrace being alone. If the show were to return, it would have to either rewrite or contradict these developments, potentially undermining the very closure that fans cherished. Moreover, Young Sheldon has dropped several hints about tragic moments in Sheldon's future, including the death of his father, George Cooper Sr., and the strain in his relationships with his siblings. These dramatic revelations shift the tone of Sheldon's past, making a comedic return to The Big Bang Theory feel tonally inconsistent. 2. The passage of time has changed the characters. When The Big Bang Theory premiered in 2007, its humor was rooted in the awkward social dynamics of its characters. The show thrived on the quirks of Sheldon, Leonard's romantic misadventures, and Howard's transformation from a cringe-worthy womanizer to a devoted husband and father. By the time the show ended, every character had evolved significantly. A revival would struggle to recapture what made the series work because these characters are no longer the same people. Sheldon, for instance, matured significantly by the end of the series. A revival that tries to force him back into his socially oblivious, rigid ways would feel regressive, while a version of Sheldon that is too mellow would lose the essence of his character. Furthermore, Young Sheldon has provided an even deeper look at Sheldon's upbringing, adding layers of emotional depth to his character. Any revival would have to acknowledge these developments, which could shift the show away from its light-hearted comedy roots. 3. Nostalgia alone isn't enough. Many shows have attempted revivals banking purely on nostalgia, but they don't always succeed. For every successful reboot, like Cobra Kai, there are disappointments like How I Met Your Father, which struggled to recapture the original magic. A Big Bang Theory revival would need more than just a nostalgic reunion. It would need a compelling reason to exist. Given that the series finale provided satisfying conclusions for most characters, any continuation risks feeling like a forced cash grab rather than a meaningful expansion of the story. The strength of The Big Bang Theory was in its evolution. The characters grew, relationships developed, and their lives changed in ways that felt natural. A revival would risk undoing that growth or, worse, feeling like an unnecessary rehash of old jokes and dynamics. 4. The comedy landscape has changed. Sitcoms have evolved significantly since The Big Bang Theory first aired. What was considered cutting-edge humor in 2007 might not resonate the same way today. Some of The Big Bang Theory's humor relied on outdated gender stereotypes, nerd culture cliches, and social awkwardness in ways that might not translate well in a modern landscape that favors more progressive and nuanced storytelling. Even young Sheldon has taken a different approach, focusing more on heartwarming family dynamics than the laugh track-driven humor of its predecessor. If a revival were to happen, it would have to find a way to adapt to today's comedic sensibilities without losing its core identity, an extremely difficult balance to strike. 5. A spin-off would be a better alternative. Instead of a full-fledged Big Bang Theory revival, a spin-off focusing on a new generation could be a more successful route. Perhaps a show centered on Leonard and Penny's child, Sheldon and Amy's future family, or even a fresh take on nerd culture from a younger perspective would allow for a continuation without undoing what came before. Much like how young Sheldon explored new angles of Sheldon's backstory, a spin-off could offer a fresh take while allowing beloved characters to make guest appearances without carrying the full weight of another series. Conclusion. As much as fans love The Big Bang Theory, young Sheldon has made it clear that a revival with the original cast wouldn't be a good idea. The characters' stories were wrapped up beautifully. The passage of time has changed both the comedy landscape and the characters themselves, and nostalgia alone isn't enough to justify bringing them back. Rather than risking the legacy of a beloved series, it might be better to let The Big Bang Theory remain a classic while exploring new stories within its universe. After all, some things are better left in the past, especially when they ended on a high note.